Hello and welcome to the Honest Corgi podcast. My name is James, and honestly, I'm just a Corgi navigating through this journey of life. If you're looking for a podcast where you can listen to honest opinions, tips for life, or even just my embarrassing stories, you've come to the right place. So remember to hit that like button, subscribe, review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And now sit back, relax, and enjoy your scheduled programming. Peace. Ready and 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Honest Corgi podcast. I am your host, James Ahn, and we are back with another episode this week. How's everyone doing? How you guys doing? How was your week? How has everything been? Me personally, it's been pretty fun. Not gonna lie. Doing life. I recently got the vaccine earlier this week, and about 2 days ago, 2 days ago, and it's been an interesting ride, honestly. If you guys haven't had the chance to get the vaccine, I will tell you a little bit about it and like my experience first, because there's not a lot that you should expect going in, but there's definitely a lot that you should kind of prepare for, in my opinion. It's interesting because there's so much pressure in this one vaccine more than any other vaccine, just because of how relevant it is today and how rapidly it came out. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding this COVID vaccine, especially depending on which company provided it. Whether you get Moderna, whether you get Pfizer, whether you get Johnson & Johnson, there's just a lot of controversy surrounding it. And so it was really interesting going in, just because I didn't know what to expect, and a lot of people were telling me about how quickly they made it and the science behind it. I'm not a science guy. I don't really look into that. All I know is if there's a vaccine and it's gonna prevent me at least a certain amount of percentage of not getting COVID, of contracting COVID, and be clinically ill, and my family as well, then I'm gonna take it. I really don't think that they would have evil enough people to create an evil vaccine. But then maybe that's just my naive side, or maybe that's just my positive side. But yeah, so let me tell you a little about it. So my work now qualifies as a frontline essential worker. So now I'm part of what we call like a government, like government, like frontline essential worker, because I work in news and media. And so because I work in news and media, I have to go in, and we're operating a 24/7 hour service for news and TV. And so they qualified our group now for the vaccine. And so on the first hand, I wanted to get it as soon as possible, because not only would I feel safer going outside and seeing other people, but also I want to be able to travel in the future, like comfortably. And I know that you need the vaccine for it, and I would just feel a lot safer going out. So I got the vaccine and I signed up. I looked up my local Walgreens, and I was like looking up all the stuff, and I went inside. I got the vaccine. I got Pfizer. I don't even remember. Actually, no, I got Moderna. I got Moderna. And a lot of people were telling me about Moderna going in, about how like there's just something going to be an after effect in terms of symptoms, and you're going to feel like the sore pain and fatigue. And let me tell you, when I get a shot or when I feel sick, I will tell you firsthand, I am the biggest baby alive. I will complain and I will moan, I will groan, I will do everything to tell you and let you know that I'm in pain and that I do not like this vaccine and that I don't like being sick. I just hate that lack of energy you feel when you feel sick. You know what I mean? Like, have you guys ever remembered a time you were so sick, and in that time you felt like you had no energy for anything? Not even getting out of bed, not even drinking water or eating. You just have no energy. I hate that feeling, because it makes me not want to do anything the rest of the day. And I hate not being able to do anything the rest of the day. So, you know me, I took the vaccine, and after a day, my left arm got completely sore, and my whole body was just fatigued. Like I just ran 8 miles, but in reality, I ran like negative 8 miles because I wasn't doing anything all day. I feel like I didn't even take 8 steps that day, and my arm was just so sore, and I had to wrestle with it. I know it sounds such a complaining thing, and it's like, oh, first world problems. At least you get to get the vaccine. Like, yeah, but I'm here to tell you right now, if you get that vaccine, you're gonna feel sore. Maybe not. You will be blessed if you aren't, but man, I cannot even sleep on my side because of that pain. But your boy's vaccinated. We good. That was my first dose, and I get my second dose in like less than a month. I think like 3 weeks or something like that. Sometime in April. But definitely looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to finally being vaccinated both arms. My mom, she finished up her vaccination for both, and my dad's scheduled to get his sometime this month, the second one. And so me and my family, we've just been getting vaccinated as soon as we can, listening to protocols and just following that way, because we want to live. We want to be able to see each other the next day for as long as we can, and I would recommend that you guys too. And so it's still gonna have me thinking about when we go back to quote unquote normal, because everyone's talking about, oh, once we get the vaccine, everything will be normal. We'll all be back to, the same lifestyle. But then, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they still advise you to wear masks and sanitize and everything. And I'm not saying it's bad to sanitize everywhere you go, but you're going to start looking at things a lot differently now. Like, I will never look at gas stations the same way. I will never be able to open a public door the same way. Public restrooms and stuff like that. Like, you start to see the amount of germs and bacteria that a lot of people carry, and it's crazy how this COVID-19 was like a wake-up call for all of mankind to realize how dirty we freaking are. We are the dirtiest people. You're a dirty person. Yes, we are dirty people. But yeah, it's interesting. I just want to be able to go and travel freely and be able to do what I want and see the people that I love, and that's just really what I want. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us are the same. So wear a mask, keep doing that, follow protocols. Don't be like those people that think wearing a mask is against their will, and like, I don't know why. It's like a big debate. Just please follow. But yeah. So I got the vaccine. That's been me. I've been just chilling after that. Let's dive into today's topic, cause it's gonna be a spicy one. Let me just say that. I know recently, like the past few episodes, I've kind of talked about like Asian Americans and like the Asian hate crimes that have been going on, but let me just say this one event kind of sparked everything that's going on, and it's opening a lot of people's eyes, all right? So if y'all didn't know, if y'all weren't ready, if y'all been living under a rock, let me tell you what's been going on, all right? Let me tell you what's been happening around the world. So in Atlanta, Georgia, there was a shooting. There was a shooting at 3 different Asian massage parlors. And it was one person that caused the shooting that went around and shot up the places. And 8 were killed. And a majority of them were Asian Americans. Asians. Okay? This is all coming after the rise in Asian hate crimes that's been going on around the United States. Coincidence? I don't know. Could be. It's sad. It hurts my heart to be able to say this to you guys, because no longer did I want to talk about any more Asian hate crimes. I just wanted to get that out there and just have more people be aware. But now, this one incident is going to spark a lot of bad things now. It's going to spark a hate train. It's going to, induce more violence. It's also going to make people a lot more aware and hopefully a lot more supportive. But man, this hurts. And if you read this article and if you don't feel an ounce of pain or remorse or sorrow, then I don't know. I want to ask you and challenge you guys to look at your heart again, evaluate where you stand with things. Because if you're of a minority and you see other minorities in like a pain or in suffering or in injustice, how does that make you feel? There's no obligation in which you have to stand up for another race or ethnicity that's not your own. But I always thought and believed that it was just morally right as a human to human that we stand up for injustice when we feel like things aren't going the way we want it to be. And if we're not experiencing the same peace or same love and privilege as other people and other races have, if we're not getting that and we see other minorities going through such suffering, what is on your mind? I just want to know. I just really want to know, like, if there's nothing that you can relate to or empathize with or understand, I just want to know, what is it that you think? Is it just like, oh, it's not me mentality, or is it like they're not doing anything for me? I just want to know, you know? You can believe what you want to believe. You can, feel what you want to feel. You're not obligated to feel anything, but seriously, like, look and just evaluate your heart. What is it that's preventing you from looking at these kind of articles and hearing about these news and not feeling any sort of pain, especially if you're an Asian American? Please, I just want to know. And if you have anything to say about it or object, please, like, just let me know. I want to, like, talk more. I want to know people's hearts about it. I want to get honest with people. But yeah, let me read this article to you guys, just so we have some clear context and can break it down, because I know a lot of you guys have been wanting to have me break this article down. And so I am reading this article by the New York Times. 8 dead in Atlanta spa shootings. The man who police say went on a rampage at 3 spas in the Atlanta area has been charged with 8 counts of murder in connection with the attacks. So this was this past Wednesday. 8 counts of murder. And took the lives of 6 women of Asian descent. So 6 of them were Asian and 2 of them were not. So it's not completely an Asian attack, but I'm going to read more of the article first. The suspect told the police that he had a sexual addiction and had carried out the shootings at the massage parlors to eliminate his temptations, the authorities said on Wednesday. He also said that he frequented massage parlors in the past and launched the attacks as a form of vengeance. All but one of the victims were women, the police said. So it's you can see the article is kind of leaning a lot towards, hey, this guy has a hate towards Asians. Whatever the motivation was for this guy, we know that the majority of the victims were Asian, Ms. Bottom said. We also know that this is an issue that is happening across the country. It is unacceptable, it's hateful, and it has to stop. The authorities charged Robert Aaron Long, 21, he's 21 years old, on Wednesday with 8 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault in connection with the shootings. 4 of the murder counts and the assault charge stem from the first shooting in Cherokee County, and the other 4 murder counts relate to the shootings at 2 spas in the city of Atlanta less than an hour later. Oh, wow. He was stopped after his parents alerted the police that they believed their son might be the suspect, and the police were able to track his phone. Wow. So his parents actually reported the police saying that, hey, our son might be the suspect that's been going loose. The police arrested Mr. Long, who was white, about 150 miles south of Atlanta after a manhunt. He did admit to the shootings and that he was alone. Four people died in the first shooting at a Young's Asian massage near Acworth, a northwest suburb of Atlanta, Mr. Baker said. The shooting, in which a Hispanic man was injured, was reported around 5 p.m. 5:47, they responded to a robbery at Gold Spa, northeast part of the city, where they found the bodies of 3 women with gunshot wounds. While the officers were at the scene, the police said they received a report of shots fired at the aromatherapy spa across the street, where they found the body of another woman. A 911 caller who said she was hiding in the back of Gold's Ball told the emergency operator that a white guy had a gun, according to the audio recordings released by the Atlanta Police Department. 8 of the 8 victims were Asian descent. On Wednesday, the police named the victims of the shooting Young's Asian massage in Ackworth, Georgia, as Delaina Ashley Yaun, 33 of Ackworth, Paul Andre Michaels, Xiaojie Tan, Daoyou Feng, Elcias R. Hernandez Ortiz, wow, this is so sad. And it just kind of talks a lot about the families that responded and what's been going on. And yeah, so that's yeah, this is just very sad. So that was the article, and pretty much it is what it is. Not like what I mean by that is there's nothing else to it. It's a hate crime, in my opinion. I read this article. News articles are meant to be unbiased. They're supposed to just give the straight facts, not give opinions. And we, the people, are to judge based off that. But it's a hate crime. It's domestic terrorism. He literally was acting on his own. Went and had what they called a sexual addiction with these Asian massage parlors, and wanted to solve it by killing people. And so it's a direct attack towards the Asian community, and it's unfortunate that 6 of 8 of them were Asian, but there are also 2 that weren't, and one was of Hispanic descent, they said. And it's sad that they had to get involved with that and just happened to be there at the wrong time, and it's so sad, but that's what it is. It's an Asian hate crime. There's nothing to it. There's no leniency to it. There's no bypass to it. We're not giving the benefit of the doubt. Like, that's what it is, and let's call it like that. I just want to say that first and foremost. It's sad. It hurts. I don't want to go out and call and hate people, but he went out to hurt Asian people, and that's so sad. And so I really hope these news articles, as unbiased as they possibly have to be, I hope that they can call it out as it is. This is terrorism. This is a terrorist attack domestically. This is a racially induced hate crime. This is the same type of things that are happening within the black community that caused a huge controversy. Black Lives Matter movement happens, boom. But they're not saying it as it is. It's racially induced hate crime. I don't know what is so hard about that. So that's just my personal take on it. It's sad. There needs to be something done. But let me tell you the hardest part about all this. All right? Let me tell you the hardest part about this whole thing and how I've been kind of handling it. I took a few days I really wanted to talk about this the day it happened, and I really wanted to come out on my podcast to speak about it. But I took a few days to kind of wrestle with it. And feel free to not listen to this part of the podcast if it makes you uncomfortable or anything. But I'm going to just be straight up right now. Like, I love Jesus Christ. I follow Jesus Christ with my life. I'm a believer of God, and I'm a believer of His Son. I'm a believer of the Holy Spirit, and that's my life. That's my faith, So everything I live, breathe, and do, I try to do it as a representation of who Jesus Christ was and who He is in my life. And one of the biggest teachings within the Christian community is that we are called to love our neighbors and our enemies as our own. We are called to love ourselves as we love others, enemies, neighbors, whoever they may be, and above all, we love God. Sorry. My iPad went off. Anyways, so that's that. And, you know, like, that's what we're called to do. That's what we're called to be. Yet, when something like this happens, like a news article comes out, my heart hurts because I'm so conflicted. And I wish I knew the answers to everything. But we're human. We're not supposed to have all the answers to everything. But my heart was just wrestling with this idea because I see this hate crime and it's targeting my people, my race. And I'm thinking, what the heck? This is BS. This is bullcrap. Why is nothing being done about this? These people hate us, and we've always been looked at as the lower race. We've always been looked at as the pathetic race in society. Let's just call it what it is. In America, I really feel like Asians don't get the respect at all. And it's because we're being picked on, we're being called out by people who are being called out. And that's no knock on them, but that's just how the society and ladder was and is for us in America. How many times does an Asian person that goes to a racial argument with someone or bickering, how many times in that argument are they going to be told, go back to your country? Even though they were born here, even though Asian Americans are literally called Asian Americans because they're born here in America, but they look Asian because their parents came from Asia. How many times are we told to go back to your country? What do we say to that? Hey, I was actually born in, Prince William County, Virginia. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not from here. I'm from Chicago. Like, I'll go back to Chicago, but I'm not going to go, like, what do we say to that? Because it's not true, but we still feel offended by it. And so this is what I mean by Asian Americans have always been treated as below and the bottom, right? And so I see these articles and these news happenings and these Asian hate crimes, and I try to do my best to make people aware and support. And I want to feel this hatred. I want to feel this anger. And I want to, look at this person in the eye and just say, why would you do that? And just, like beat the living crap out of him. I'm sorry, but that's just really what it is. I want to beat the crap out of this person that would hate and kill innocent Asian people that do nothing to bother them. They're just living their lives, right? Like, that's my moral, and not moral, that's my earthly human flesh side, right? And I'm just being honest with y'all. But I've also felt like I've experienced a spiritual change in my life where I want to love people, and I want to learn to love people like Christ once did. And so my Christian side and my believing side conflicts with my flesh side. And I'm actually called to love this person that killed these people. I'm called to him, to love him, to show him the grace of God, the same grace of God that saved me. I'm called to do that. But how hard is it for me to do that to him? To anyone that does any hate crimes? How hard is it for black Christians out there that see the death of George Floyd and look at the cop and see that you're actually called to love that guy? You're actually called to love him and show him grace rather than anger. It's hard. It's conflicting. I wrestle with that thought for so many hours. And I was just sitting there thinking about how I wanted to come on this podcast and just go off, and I wanted to be like, oh, like, you piece of crap, you suck, and all these things. I wanted to come on here and just do that because that's what is entertaining, that's what's fun to hear, that's also how I feel, and blah, 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 blah. But I can't, and I'm not going to. I don't want to. I want to show people and show God that I love all who call upon the name of Christ, and I love even the enemies, because I look at them and think of myself, how we all at one point were distant from the love of God. And I know that's very heavy religious topic, but that's just what I believe in. That's just what I've been conflicting with my flesh side, my human side, in which this is not right, this is very big injustice, versus oh, it is injustice, but I'm also called to love this person without hating them and without feeling anything personal resentment towards them. And that's hard. That's tough. And so, for those of you that listen and aren't Christian, you guys are probably now wondering, so how do we as Christians feel about injustice? Is that something that you just don't support? Like, you're not supposed to have an opinion about? Like, what is that deal about? You know? And here's what I believe. Okay? So take this with a grain of salt, but here's what I believe. We can have an opinion on just about anything. We're human. We're going to have opinions about everything. There's no hiding that. There's things that we believe in, things we call true, but that differs with every person. We believe in the things that we believe, and injustice and inequality, those things, as much as of opinions they could be, I really don't think you can hide the fact that you can view this as inequality or not inequality. It's inequality. Right? I don't think it's something that you can just kind of second guess and have an opinion about. I think it's inequality, and if you don't look at that, then I think you're on the side of inequality. And so, as much as we can have that opinion, we also, as Christians, should not be too involved within the politics of society, because we're called to be set apart to be from that. You know, we can have our opinions, but we also shouldn't have any personal hate or resentment towards people or systems that are like that. We can have opinions about it, but we shouldn't have any personal grudge or hatred that goes on to other people, because that's not what Christ would have done. Right? But there's also the part where we can stand up for what we believe in and fight for that without hatred, without pain, without hurting someone, saying bad things about someone. You know? And I always reference Martin Luther King, one of the greatest examples, human examples that we've had about peaceful protesting. You know? Where there was no hatred, there was no violence. And I'm pretty sure there must have been a lot of hatred and anger built up inside of him just because he was seeing his brothers and sisters, his black brothers and sisters, being killed almost every day next to him. Yet to show the love of Christ and fight for what you believe in, combining that, is tough. It's hard. And not flipping the table when you see something like this happening is hard. That's not easy. But at the same time, it's good that we talk about it, you know, bring out the elephant in the room, share opinions, share stories, share testimonies about the experiences in these kind of moments, and better each other. Better each other, make sure we're understood, we're being spoken to, and we're having a platform to speak. You know, if you have any Asian friends out there, let them speak. Let them share their piece about what's going on, how they feel about it, how they feel about their family about it, and just let them talk. That's the whole point of why we want to speak up. It's not because we want to have power now or we want to take your power. No, it's just so we can be understood and looked at and treated as equals. Because we're living under a system that doesn't treat us or look at us as equals. And that's the whole point of why I think we should be protesting peacefully and fighting for what's right, instead of passively doing what we've always do as an Asian culture, which is not do anything and not speak up. So it's tough. I've so many times on today's podcast. It's tough to face an issue like this have beliefs that spread love and peace when all you want to do inside is, punch someone and flip tables. But it's part of the journey. It's part of life, and I just want to learn more about it. Learn from other people. Hopefully, I have my voice being able to be heard, which is why I'm glad I have this podcast, because it's my platform. I can do what I want. But that's just what's been wrestling. So if this is something that you're also going through, let's say in my similar situation as a Christian that's also Asian, that wants to love and be peaceful with people, but then you also feel like this sort of anger inside of you, it's okay to feel what you feel. Don't look down on yourself, and don't hate yourself. Don't beat yourself up for it too, and don't let the anger consume you. Feel what you have to feel at first. If you feel that anger, if you feel that emotion, feel it. Don't suppress it. But then also be able to evaluate yourself and make sure that anger doesn't ooze off to anybody else. You can still show passion and support for a cause or an issue without hating the other person, without showing that you're angry. You can have passion without anger. You can have zeal without frustration. It's possible. It really is. And I don't think we should be resolving things with anger. I think we should be as calm as we can be, because that shows us that we have a better grip of it rather than just acting on our emotions. And it's hard to do that because we want to react with our emotions first and then think about it later. But I'm just here to give you and encourage you the advice to say that it's okay to feel what you feel, but don't let that anger consume you. Don't be that kind of person that's built on anger and frustration. Try not to be, at least. And if you're not Christian and if you're Asian, there's nothing that I'm forcing you to believe in or forcing you and telling you to do. But, support your Asian community. Let your friends that are not Asians know what's going on and have them become aware. Stand up for what's right. Don't let it happen. If it's something that you feel uncomfortable about, then that's probably something that you need to address, because that's going to help you grow in the end. And then if you're listening to this and if you're not Asian, right? How does this make you feel? Do you feel anything? Do you feel like a weird feeling? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel nothing about it? What is it that you feel? And start questioning how you feel. Because I'm here to tell you first that if you look at these articles and if you look at this specific one that happened recently, and if you feel nothing about it personally, if there's no empathetic sympathy, any feelings about that towards this article or the people involved in it, then I just want to say I ask that you reevaluate your heart, because this isn't just an Asian only thing. This is a human injustice, morally wrong thing that's going on. And it's just something I feel like needs to be addressed and that you need to think about more than once. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents of it. I know a lot of you guys kind of wanted me to speak on this article. I was looking forward to talking about this article because, your boy had a lot on his mind and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think. And it's tough, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's hard to look at these articles and go about my day regularly without having a hurt heart. Because I just want to love people. I just want to let people know that they're loved, and I don't want to do anything to cause any pain or hatred towards anyone. I just want to love people. I'm a loving guy. That's what I do. I love people. I love you. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. If you liked this episode of the Ahn-est Corgi podcast, please hit subscribe. Please follow me. I am now on YouTube, so go follow me. My YouTube channel is called Hi Corgi, because I'm a Corgi and I say hi. So hi. I'm Hi Corgi on YouTube. Ahn-est Corgi podcast. Check me out on Apple. Check me out on Spotify. You can also follow me on Twitter. James On. I just tweet about random things. Most of the time it's like sports or something funny, but you can follow me. And yeah, if you want to be able to speak on my podcast and be a guest, I will be happy to have you on here. But you have to be interesting, funny, you have to be handsome, you have to be smart. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, if there's also any suggestions that you guys want me to talk about, please just let me know. I want to continue growing as a podcaster. I want to learn and more on how to be a better speaker, better listener, and all these things. So any suggestions, I'm very open to it. But yeah, check me out on Apple, check me out on Spotify, check me out on YouTube. But yeah, this was today's episode of the Honest Corgi podcast. I was your host, James Ahn, and I'm here to wish you all a very good night. If it's not night, have a good day. If it's not day, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye, people.